Thank you all very, very much, and God bless you, and God bless America.
This is my video update on this Saturday afternoon, August the 24th. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with the big story from yesterday, which was RFK Jr. suspending his campaign and endorsing Trump. He actually joined Trump on stage at a campaign rally in Arizona. And RFK Jr. is going to keep his name on the ballot in certain states, but wherever his name appears on a state that's a battleground state, then RFK is going to withdraw his name. That's how I understood it, so as to not help Kamala Harris and Waltz. So that was the huge news actually from yesterday. Huge news. The populist right merges with the populist left. I believe that is how the ex-post account of Election Wizard summarized it, and I think that's a good way to summarize what just happened. This is going to freak out the Harris campaign. This is going to really freak them out. The permanent state is going to be very freaked out. So what do you guys think? If Trump were to win in November, would Kennedy as the Attorney General be better, or as the health director heading up Trump's health policy, or something to do with the CIA, maybe the CIA director? Which position would you say is a better fit for RFK? Where can he do more good if Trump were to win in November? I would say as either CIA director, so he can completely dismantle the CIA if that's even possible, or Attorney General. I believe that RFK would prefer something aligned with health. That's what I think he would prefer. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We are getting way ahead of ourselves. There's still a couple of months left to go, and according to the polls, it's a very tight race. This is a huge deal. This is a huge endorsement from RFK. You know, the Democratic Party, they didn't even want to hear from him. They didn't even want to talk to him. He called them, he said, in his speech that he gave yesterday. He called the Harris campaign, and they didn't even return his call. Man, the Democrat Party doesn't return the call of a Kennedy. Upside down world. The New York Post ran an article with the title, "A Kennedy Endorses a Republican." That's the cover of the New York Post. A Kennedy endorses a Republican. But both guys are pretty moderate, man. You know? Trump's a pretty moderate guy. Kennedy's, well, some people think Kennedy is pretty left. I guess he is on some issues. I guess you could make the argument that Trump is pretty right on some issues, but I think in today's day and age, they're both pretty moderate, populist right, populist left, but on the issues, they're not too extreme. I could be wrong about that, but Kennedy talked about in his speech. He talked about food safety. He talked about the election and how he's been banned from pretty much running running equal to both parties. The Democratic Party has pretty much made it so that he can't run a fair, equal campaign to that of Harris. And he talked about foreign policy a lot. He talked a lot about foreign policy, the never-ending wars, Project Ukraine, how Ukraine is being used to try and destroy Russia. He said a lot of interesting stuff. No doubt that that Kennedy would be advising Trump to wind down the conflict in Ukraine. Without a doubt, Kennedy would be telling Trump, time to end the conflict in Ukraine. We have no business being there, as America and the whole conflict has nothing to do with Ukraine and everything to do with regime change in Russia. Boy, the neocons are freaking out. You know it. You know the neocons are freaking out about this teaming up of Trump and Kennedy. Trump and Kennedy teaming up. That tells you everything, doesn't it? That tells you freaking everything. What a world we live in. So, interesting news. I think it's good news. I consider it good news. Time will tell. So let's talk about Modi in Kiev. He got his hug, Elensky. He got the hug. Boy, was Zelensky holding on to Modi for dear life as they hugged. Elensky's face. Help me, Modi, help me. How do I get out of this mess? Actually, Elensky was kind of a jerk to Modi. Elensky treats Modi like dirt. Every time they've met, Elensky's been really rude to Modi. Like, really rude. I wonder if Modi notices this. Jaishankar, the foreign minister of India, he was asked about the fact that Modi hugged Putin. He was asked by reporters in Kiev, what about Modi meeting with Putin and hugging Putin? You know, Modi's the only guy, the only world leader that has hugged Putin and Elensky in the same year. How's that for an achievement? But Jaishankar was asked about the meeting with Putin and hugging Putin. And Jaishankar said, in our world, when people meet, they're meant to embrace each other. It may not be part of your culture. Hence the question about hugging Putin. But Elensky, he really hugged Modi. He really gave him a big Elensky hug, probably hoping that the Elensky curse would work on Modi. Little does Elensky know that when you hug Putin and then you hug Elensky, well, you're not going to catch the Elensky curse. Putin provides protection. Even a handshake from Putin provides protection from the Elensky curse. So Elensky's hug is going to have zero effect on Modi, I believe. But going back to Elensky being very rude to Modi, Elensky, he pretty much demanded that Modi put pressure on Putin. He said that India will play its role in the negotiations and what's going on between Russia and Ukraine. And he said that India must realize that this conflict is about one man, one evil man, and that man is Putin. But Elensky also said that India, as a mediator, would be good, and we could even mediate in India, but according to Elensky, the fact that India did not sign on to the first peace plan communique means that maybe India as a place of mediation would not be suitable. Punishment from Elensky for not signing on to the communique. We were going to mediate in India, and mediation in India, that could be a good thing, said Elensky, but The fact that you did not sign up to the first peace plan communique means that maybe India may not be the place for Elensky's peace plan, his peace summit, and my peace summit. Elensky said to Modi that you have a lot of influence and you can stop Putin, stop his economy, and put him in his place. And you know where his place is. Elensky was kind of acting like a jerk to Modi. He was being a complete jerk to Modi. But then again, Elensky is kind of a jerk. He's a jerk. He's a jerk actor. That's what he is. He's a spoiled, bratty actor. That's why no one likes Zelensky, except the spoiled, bratty, collective West leaders like Trudeau, who wants to be an actor, who was a drama teacher. They like Elensky because they're the same type of people. But everybody else, they don't like these spoiled actors. Anyway, that was Elensky and Modi. And let's now talk about this Washington Post article, which claims that the Biden White House is actually thinking about helping Ukraine in its Kursk invasion. No joke, the Biden White House is actually thinking of arming Ukraine and helping Ukraine as it conducts operations in Kursk. At least that's how the Biden White House sees it. Ukraine is conducting operations in Kursk. I would say that Ukraine soldiers are trapped in Kursk, and the soldiers and their weapons, the collective West weapons, are getting annihilated by the Russian military. But according to the Washington Post, the Biden White House is debating its support for Ukraine's surprise offensive into Russia, as if the Biden White House had no idea. They had no clue about this incursion into Kursk. It was a surprise. Biden was surprised by it all. So only the Biden White House would be dumb enough to help Ukraine in this operation. Unless, of course, the Pentagon is considering helping Ukraine in Kursk in order to quicken Elensky's demise. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they realize that the more of a debacle Kursk turns out to be, the quicker the debacle it turns out to be, the quicker we can get rid of the comedian in a green t-shirt. But they don't want to get rid of him too quickly. At least not before the November elections. Let's see. U.S. debates support for Ukraine's surprise offensive into Russia as Kiev's forces expand operations in the Kursk region. The Biden administration remains unsure of their objectives and worried about escalation with Moscow. Expanding their operations in Kursk. They're not expanding anywhere. They're not going anywhere. They're stuck. They're stuck in Kursk. I said 2 weeks ago, I said that Kursk reminds me, when I was in Limassol, I said Kursk reminds me of Krinky and Rabotino. And now everyone is saying that, a lot of the analysts are saying that Kursk reminds them of Rabotino and Krinky and that debacle. Yeah. They entered a territory, they claim that they captured some land, and now they're stuck. And the Russians are just going to annihilate whatever forces are in Kursk, are in this area. And Zelensky's going to have to feed more forces and more weapons into this area in order to hold on. So that's the Washington Post. There's also talk about a new weapons package, 125 million weapons package that will soon be approved and sent to the Elensky regime. According to the reports, this brings the total U.S. military assistance to Kiev to more than $55.7 billion since February 2022. Yeah, right. I would say you need to quadruple that. At a minimum, quadruple that, and you'll get to the real amount of military assistance that has been given to Ukraine since 2022. And that's just military assistance. We're not talking about all of the money, the hundreds and hundreds of billions that have been given to the Elensky regime. No audit. Nothing has been accounted for. It's all gone missing. Hundreds of billions of dollars into the black hole that is Ukraine, Project Ukraine. The Kremlin, they are coming out with statements hinting at the fact that the Biden White House is going to green light long-range missile strikes into Russia pre-2014. That is what the Kremlin is starting to say. The U.S. is preparing to lift the ban on strikes deep inside Russia. Washington cannot be trusted over claims that Ukraine is prohibited from using certain weapons, Russian envoy Anatoly Antonov has said. Yeah, they're going to lift the long-range missile strikes. Sooner or later, they're going to do that. When that happens, that's going to be another red line, a huge red line that they have crossed, a Russian red line that the collective West has crossed when they allow Ukraine to launch ATACMS and Storm Shadows and Scalps and all of these missiles, which the U.S. is preventing the Zelensky regime from launching. Even the U.K. missiles, the U.S. is preventing the Zelensky regime from launching those missiles into pre-2014 Russia. But when that happens, that is going to be another huge red line that is going to be crossed. What will Russia do when Ukraine crosses that red line? Don't know. Do not know. But it's going to happen. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. The Economist is running an article talking about how Ukraine is losing in the Donbass. The Kremlin is close to crushing Pokrovsk, a vital Ukrainian town. Even as Ukraine raids Russia, it is losing another key battle. That is what The Economist is saying. And Julian Rupke from Bild, super pro-Ukrainian journalist, he put out an ex-post saying, only days after conquering the two eastward villages, Russian invasion forces entered Novohrodivka and are advancing within the former 14,000 inhabitants town in Donetsk Oblast. Further indications there is no fortified Ukrainian line of defense east of Pokrovsk anymore. Yeah, Donbass is crumbling. No defensive lines. Soldiers sent to Kursk to hold on to Kursk for dear life for the Elensky regime and for Sirsky. And the Russians continue to advance in Pokrovsk. And the collective West media, they're starting to report on it. Even The Economist, even the freaking neocon, Russian-hating, Elensky-loving Economist, they're reporting that the Donbass is crumbling. So Borrell, Jungle Joseph, he's still hanging around, Jungle Joseph. When is Joseph leaving and when is Kallas coming in as the new head diplomat for the European Union? So Borrell was at some convention, some event, speaking about Project Ukraine, and Borrell said that the EU is part of the game, but not a party to the war. That is what Borrell said. What's going to happen to Ukraine will also determine our geopolitical future. We have to think about Ukraine putting ourselves in the game. We're part of the game, not part of the war, but part of the conflict. What? Let me read that again. We have to think about Ukraine putting ourselves in the game. We're part of the game, not part of the war, but part of the conflict. We're part of the game, but we're not part of the war. Okay, Borrell, whatever. Whatever. Part of the game, but not part of the war, according to Jungle Joseph. We're on the pitch. We're playing the game. We're on the pitch. We're playing. The opposite side, the opposite team is Russia, and we're playing against Russia. but we're not really playing. No. Nope. Part of the game, but not part of the war, according to Jungle Joseph. Wants the EU to continue to fund proxy Ukraine, give them money, give them weapons, give them mercenaries, let them hit Russian territory, let them strike at Russian territory, let them go after nuclear power plants, all of these things, sanction Russia, do all of these things, blow up Nord Stream pipeline, blow up any pipelines, like Pavel said, any pipelines, any satellites, any communication cable. Do all of these things to Russia, but Russia can't do any of these things to us because we're not a party to the war. Man, Burrell is... Anyway, I'll stop there. I'm not going to say anything bad about outgoing top EU diplomat Burrell. Elensky put out a video. He put out a video statement. And I was going to say he gave a speech. But he put out a very slick video where he's standing in some desert or something. I don't know where he's standing. But Elensky's positioning himself as some sort of superhero leader in this video. That's the way it looks. Very, very slickly produced video. And Elensky is talking about how everything that Russia has taken is going to be returned with interest. It looks like Elensky's in Joshua Tree National Park or something. I don't know. What kind of green screen is Elensky using? That's what it looks like to me. It's like it's the landscape from driving from Arizona to Vegas. The lone superhero Elensky talking about how Russia's going to pay, and they're going to pay with interest. Yeah. He called Putin, I think he called Putin in the video, a sick old man in Red Square, who constantly threatens with the red button, but will no longer dictate his red lines to us. Yeah, Elensky's really goading Russia with the red line narrative. I wish I could say he doesn't have a point, but to be fair, he kind of does have a point. He's really digging into Russia and to Putin with the red line thing. I imagine Putin and Russia's unfazed by it all. They're going to stick to their plan, and they're going to stay on course, and they're not going to be thrown off course from what they're doing, demilitarization and denazification. But Elensky's continuously going on about red lines and how Ukraine is going to cross all those red lines and nothing's going to happen. That's what he said in this video statement. So let's do a clown world and we'll wrap this video up. This has been a pretty chill video for this Saturday. Hot day here in Larnaca, Cyprus. For the clown world story, we go to Duda. Duda's actually in Kiev. I think he made a surprise visit to Kiev yesterday, I believe. Modi left and Duda entered. He needs to get a whiff of that Elensky number 5. He needs to get a whiff of that Elensky scent. Duda. When Duda hugs Elensky, Elensky disappears. Duda's huge. And Elensky's this little guy, and he hugs Elensky, and Elensky just vanishes in Duda's arms. Anyway, the clown world is that there are rumors that Poland's president, Mr. Duda, Mr. Duda, give me a hug, Mr. Duda. I miss you very much, Andrzej Duda. He is going to be the Olympic president. These are just rumors, but I reported how, what's his face? Thomas Bach. That's the dude's name. Thomas Bach, the current Olympic president. He's leaving in 2025 after the fiasco that was the Paris Olympics. He's Audi 5000. He's done. And the rumor is that Duda is going to take over as the head of the IOC. Just a rumor. We'll see. We will see. Anyway, that's the clown world, everybody. That's the video, the Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, and Rockfin. And go to the Duran shop. Pick up some merch, like the hat that I'm wearing today, t-shirt that I'm wearing today as well. Very cool merch that we have on the Duran shop. That's it. I don't have anything else to say.